Hey guys, welcome back to the English Gentleman Gamer with me, Roscoe. Just a quick point before I go on, but this was done by Beam Software, this game. I'm sure they did another one of my favourite games, Super Smash TV. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and the reason for today's video is I found a stockpile of old magazines I've kept for years, it seems, one called Super Play. And it got me thinking that basically gaming isn't quite the same these days. It's not quite as, I'll say fun, but everything's more immediate these days. Back in the day, I mean, the reason why I'm bringing you this game, The Hunt for Red October on the Game Boy, is because it is the first video game I ever played. A friend of my sister came round with a Game Boy, and she had this and some sort of shitty Bugs Bunny game. And that was it then. You know, I've been into video games ever since. That's the reason why I brought The Hunt for Red October, and you'll see an extremely piss-poor effort by me trying to finish the first level. I'm sure I did get to that level 3 or something back in the day, but anyway, I will always have a soft spot for this game. I think the graphics are quite good, and the music okay. I think it's ridiculously hard, but anyway, this game, or I started gaming when, you know, the Game Boy and the Nintendo were, I won't say the predominant machines in the UK, but that was about as good as it got, really. I remember going into a toy shop, it was in Bolton, to get it, and I think it was 150 quid or something stupid for a Game Boy. I mean, I won't pay that now for a PS3, let alone a Game Boy, but anyway, so times move on. But the part about the gaming that has changed for me is that when I've got this, and the other game that I've got coming up is called Mercenary Force, which I don't know if you've been following me for a while, I have reviewed previously. But that also will always maintain a special place for me because it's the first import game I ever bought. But the first point I wanted to make was, nowadays with the internet, obviously we can get our gaming news instantly. You know, we go online, even on our phones, and we can get RSS feeds and tweets from even the game's developers. When I first started gaming, playing this game, you know, the most current news you could get was buying Games Master magazine or Super Play or Total Nintendo magazine was another one I used to get. You know, I had to wait every month, and then there was a bit of light at the end of the tunnel when Channel 4 brought on a show called Games Master that came on every week for however long. That was around sort of when started off when the Super Nintendo came out, and also covered the launch of the Saturn and the PlayStation 1. So now, I mean, it's like our news is more instant now, and I kind of miss that in a way. I kind of miss, you know, this is Mercenary Force, by the way. This is level 2, because the emulator I used did actually remember where I was up to, so you will see me tackle level 2 here. Yeah, you know, used to go to the newspaper shop on the day the magazine was due out and go and hand over me 3 quid and run home as fast as I could, but you know, get back as quick as I could, and then sit and read the magazine as quickly as I could, you know, just to see what reviews the games, you know, I'd be excited about stuff coming out. Like, the ones I remember being excited about was the Super Nintendo in general. That Ninja didn't last very long, did it? Stuff like Super Street Fighter 2. Well, Street Fighter 2, I remember the first review I read was in Computer and Video Games magazine, which I think is pretty much just online these days, but still around. And really blurry screen grabs they'd managed to get from, obviously, I think they used Famicoms in the day to play these sort of things, and they had it overnight FedEx from Japan, which I'm sure cost more then than it does now. Such is the way. But you know, these days you can, you know, you're getting videos sent on Twitter from the developers, so you see everything. You know, back when I was a lad, as they say, you know, we used to get a couple of blurry screenshots in Games Master magazine, and that was about as good as it got. These days, everything's, you know, as soon as a game's announced, you're getting trailer videos and betas, whatever you want to call them, demos and all. It just didn't happen when I was growing up. Mainly, I mean, for a number of reasons. Obviously, the internet didn't exist, so that was one reason. There were cartridge-based machines back then, all the way up to the PlayStation 1. I thought playable demos on the, you know, official PlayStation magazine was the height of, you know, technology at the time. These were right fuckers on this level. I have to say, these guys with guns. I couldn't get away from them ones. Yeah, PlayStation magazine bringing out the playable demos I thought was fantastic. When I was brought up on a diet of Super Nintendo and Game Boy, I never owned a Nintendo, not till I was actually left uni and everything, and then even then don't think I ever got it to actually work. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I could rent games. I think this is like a mid-level boss. This game, it wasn't particularly difficult. One of the few downsides to how pretty this game looks is that the graphics do glitch in places, but I do think this is a very underrated game. It tries very hard to be different from the likes of R-Type and the usual shooting type of games. You can even stop halfway along. But like Xenon 2, I think that used to be able to do. You can stop at, there's a little shop here, that kind of pyramid with a circle in it that I think I go towards and fuck up. That is actually a shop. I think there's 2 or 3 on this level. But yeah, I think this game is very pretty and the music's really good as well. These were, I thought, there we go, I'm going to the shop and I did actually want to buy some stuff and heal them, but I fucked it up and you couldn't go back in. But yeah, gaming for me has changed. I wouldn't say I don't like the way gaming is now, but I have fonder memories, if you will. I mean, I remember staying up late with a copy of Games Master by my side, playing through Zelda on the Super Nintendo, for example. And those are what I'll always look back on fairly fondly. You know, these days with CDs and Steam and shit like that, especially if you've got a fast internet connection, you can download a game in a few minutes and you're away. You know, I had to go to a shop, heaven forbid, to buy stuff. You know, this was pretty much before mail order was as popular as it is now, because there wasn't websites, so they had to be physical shops, and you just rang them up and they would send it to you. That's as good as mail order got then. I remember buying this game, Mercenary Force, dragging my mum to, or making my mum take me to a particularly good game shop in Bolton, and looking through it and thinking, this is really cool. I think this is actually the American version I got, because obviously it's in English, but it was definitely, the cartridge was, I think the way to tell on Nintendo games, for those of us who didn't ever see an imported Nintendo game, was the official logo, officially licensed Nintendo bollocks thing, stamp or seal, whatever you want to call it, for the UK was perfectly circular, whereas the one for America, or North America rather, was an oblong, and that's how you could tell the difference. I don't think this game, I think it was at 15 quid this game, that was fairly cheap. I think one of the reasons why I bought it, I think the guys who own the shop must have bought this thinking they'd sell it, and then it must have cluttered up the shelf for a while. But this is the end of level boss that I do really piss poor now because I'm dead already. But yeah, I just wanted to bring you a video because I kind of missed the days where you'd have to wait for the games news and, you know, eagerly watching Games Master magazine with no idea what was going to be on it, and hoping to see, you know, snippets of the latest games and stuff. Whereas these days it's just everything's on demand, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not quite as good. But yeah, I also wanted to show you Hunt for October, because, like I say, it is the first game I ever played, well, video game anyway. So for that reason, I'll always look back fondly on that game. And also, like I say, Mercenary Force was because it was the first imported game I ever bought, and obviously the Game Boy. This is a lesson, by the way, for all these peckerwoods who put region codes on Blu-rays and on games. The Game Boy didn't have region coding on it. It didn't. The cartridges were exactly the same. Obviously, there's a language barrier buying a Japanese version of a game that you couldn't read what was going on. But I don't think anyone could even remotely suggest that it hurt the sales of the Game Boy. You could argue that the world was a bigger place then, and it was not as easy necessarily to get things. I mean, you couldn't go on a website in Japan and order one and get delivered to your house. But anyway, another side point. Yeah, so like I said, this was the first game I ever bought. There was an import one anyway. There was a few I ended up having on the Super Nintendo. I had Parodius, which was the only Japanese game I ever owned, which wasn't the best example, in as much as it was a fantastic game, but it was really like Konami had gone on a fucking LSD trip to make that bad boy. And I had a couple of American ones. I had Super Punch Out and Super Smash TV. But yeah, the overall point is, you know, waiting for the magazines and just isn't, you know, this on-demand news and everything and constant updates from the developers means it's not quite as fun as it used to be. But anyway, regards to the next video, I'm working on a Killzone one. Today's Friday, and I need to get some more Killzone footage. It's not quite. There's a couple of bits missing in my opinion, so I'm going to try and get them this weekend. Other than that, I'll try and get a Dishonored update video out probably on Monday. I won't get much chance to play tomorrow night, but I will get a chance tonight, and I might get some time on Sunday. So anyway guys, until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, my little look back, nostalgic look back on the way gaming used to be. and I will catch you guys later. Take it easy. Bye.